You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills After Show.
Come on, Cassidy. Let's see it. I want to see you twerk tonight.
Ooh, this is very sensual.
This reminds me of that movie. What was it? When they got on the bars and they danced on the bars. Yeah.
My college life.
Yeah, exactly. Should we wait for the other?
Yeah,
St. Patrick's Day.
Oh my gosh, everybody! I hope you're really drunk right now.
I'm ditching you.
Oh,
We're not wearing. You're wearing green.
I am wearing green.
well, I don't have green on, but my last name's Daniels, so I get a pass, right? I'm not Irish, but my last name's Daniels.
Is that Irish?
Yes.
Why can't we be friends?
This should be the theme song.
Be friends?
Okay, guys, clearly we have to make no introduction, but if you got the theme song, you'll know tonight's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills After Show Reunion Part 1. Crazy night, as expected. 3 times we're going to have this, so we have another 2 reunions to go. I'm Ashley Daniels, your host, along with my other beautiful hosts. Who am I with tonight?
Beauty number 1.
Hi, Cassidy Gard.
And I guess I'll be beauty number 2. I'm Jill Anenberg.
Yeah, she's the only one sporting green tonight. I love it. I totally forgot it was actually St. Patrick's Day until I got on Mulholland Drive, and then I was like, it's definitely
This is the only green I have. I was like, a green wife beater, that works.
Yeah,
Right,
for
there
sure.
you go.
Green, you could never go wrong with anything tank top, tight, on you. You
Oh,
look great.
thanks.
I'm not hitting on you, I swear.
Thanks.
Okay.
Keep it coming.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. As I was saying. Okay, so we are just, I mean, I'm not going to say we're super shocked by what happened tonight. It wasn't like anything crazy happened, but they did a lot of recapping. A lot of things that were controversial over this season that they brought up. I just wonder how much more they have to talk about for the next 2 seasons. But I know we'll get into that, but I'm just curious what else there really is to dive into. I know we didn't really have a lot of Carlton tonight, so I'm sure we're going to get a lot of her. But it seems like they got a lot done in this hour.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything left. I don't know why there's 2 more shows of
don't
the
either.
reunion.
Well, that's why they're going to
Bravo
bring
TV.
the husbands in to bring additional male drama.
Yeah, because that Real House Husbands of Beverly Hills that they're still trying to pitch, I think.
Well, yeah,
I mean, really.
the Joyce Brandi comment was such a huge part of the season, and we kind of brushed over it with this episode in 5 minutes or less, and
Yeah.
that was it, and we moved
Yeah.
right along. So they cannot squeeze any more drama out of what's already happening.
Right.
So
Right. So for anybody who hasn't seen yet and you're tuning in to get an, a recap of tonight, I suggest you watch it too. But if you're relying on us, we'll go from the beginning. So starts off with Lisa. Andy asks them, what does it feel like going back and watching yourselves, and were you surprised? The same question he always asks. And Lisa admits that she was mystified and hurt from what she saw, and that just like last season, she didn't see it coming. Do you guys believe that Lisa didn't see it coming, that she was going to be hated this season?
Not to this extent, I don't think.
yeah, I think she really just has a sense of humor, and she says things, and then she doesn't realize the repercussions that come from it. They are a lot of sensitive girls, Brandi, Kyle, and then Lisa's just kind of like, she has British humor, and British humor is very to the point, usually pretty dead on.
Right.
I mean, I have my qualms with Lisa at times, but half the time I'm laughing. So.
Right. No, totally. I think she really does mean well in a lot of ways. It's hard though, because I feel one way and then I'll hear somebody else's side, and then I'm like, well, I guess everybody at some point. That's right. I think everybody's at fault for something in this show. There's not one good person and everybody else is bad, but it's just the levels of how much they were willing to hurt somebody to get fame, I guess, and to get popular.
And the desperation.
And the
that they do.
desperation. How can we miss that, Cassidy? Desperation. Which goes without saying. I feel like at this point, it's just like, it seemed like with this reunion, especially with Joyce, they vying so much to have their spot next season that they're just willing to take these shots and say these things that are just weird.
Well, are they just completely reaching? I mean, the opening part of this whole cap was the fact that Brandi calls Lisa out on the fact that she said she never lived in the Valley, but then she lived deep in the Valley in Calabasas.
Yeah.
And then she says, "Oh, I paid $9.99 to check it out."
Yeah.
Which is
That's
creepy.
embarrassing.
It's
Right,
creepy.
but those websites do work. And
I'm sure they
I'm
do,
sure
but-
they're, I've done it before with phone numbers, but I don't know about the address thing.
They work. And also, do you not think that someone like Lisa and Ken would be really smart to do investment properties? So there is a chance that they bought some sort of property. You buy it when it's good and someone's maybe in default or they're about to lose it, and then you hold on to it and you resell it and you make
Right.
a couple $1 million
Right.
when you're them.
Well,
So-
I think she was just so stuck on. See, for anybody that doesn't know, Beverly Park is a gated community. Anybody that you can imagine that's a huge celebrity lives there. These homes are massive, as you saw last season with Adrian's home and Lisa's home. They're massive. They're not even homes. They're like museums. So to live in Beverly Park is something you take pride in doing if you're able to live there. So I think her saying this over and over again was because she is proud of it. It's something that's it's an accomplishment to be able to live in Beverly Park right from when you move here, the first place that you live. Who knows? We're really never going to know if she lived in Calabasas first. There's nothing wrong with Calabasas.
Do
The
the
Kardashians live in
Kardashians
Calabasas.
live in Calabasas?
I mean, Justin Bieber had a mansion in Calabasas. I mean, Calabasas is literally becoming the new Beverly Hills. It's the place where everybody wants to live now because you get even more land, more homes, and you have a lot more privacy. If you're a celebrity, you want privacy. A lot of people live in Beverly Park too. It's a lot of old money. It's celebrities too, but it's still a lot of old money. So I think
and people, they like that the school district's farther out. They can send their kids to schools where they're not having to just only do private in places like Beverly Hills. So I'm not sure why Brandi finds these teeny tiny little details. It's just getting a little monotonous for me to watch. I've heard enough. Like, okay, what else are you going to pull out of your bag?
Pulls out these details because so often Lisa's just like hammering her, like, "Oh, I'm being funny. It was just a joke," but it gets really annoying. And even if at that time she tries to confront her and say, "Look, I know you're joking, but it's really annoying," she's going to continue to say, "Oh, I need my passport to come visit you." And it's like, bitch, you lived far away also.
Right. No, I think when she was saying that, it shows that she was very inauthentic this entire time that she's been friends with her, because if she's keeping all these little things in the back of her mind and they're all upsetting her and she acts like she's somebody that's so willing to say what's on her mind and confront people, yet all these things that upset her during that time she's never mentioned to Lisa until now. So she's contradicting everything she stands for.
They all do. All of the girls contradict themselves.
And it's also funny because she's going to, contradict it or say something different. And she's so enraged that Lisa says things on camera when so many times Brandi does the exact same thing. And you had a piece of gossip that, go ahead and tell us about Brandi with the, you said that she would
From
text
a few weeks
people.
ago?
Well, she would text people.
Yes. I don't have it actually with me right now, but I said it a few weeks ago on our show. But Brandi basically admitted to doing that. I don't know if she admitted to it. I don't have the exact thing now, but it was proven that a lot of the girls had said that Brandi came to them and said, "Listen, I'm going to start a fight tomorrow. Don't take it personal, but I got to do it. We have to have some drama." So basically, she went up to the girls. She would text them, call them the night before, whatever she had to do. And these girls came out about it. I'm surprised they haven't said this on the show yet for the reunion. I don't know if they're going to.
Maybe they will, and then at the same point, it's okay for her to do that, but Lisa can't talk about Brandi possibly drinking too much, which Brandi owns up to the fact that she drinks too much. So I read something where she said that, and then later she spun it around and said, like, my children could be taken away. I could lose, my custody because of these accusations.
Oh, come on.
And it's like, don't place that. If you're drunk, I mean, there's enough TMZ paparazzi of her coming out, unconscious out of clubs or, like, being carried. You're doing that on your own time, not even with the show.
Right. No, that's just her way of it's tit for tat at this point. She said, well, because then Lisa comes back and says, well, you said this about my husband. You said he's old. He dropped dead. I should go down on him one more time, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I mean, really, during that time, you're cracking up laughing. So it's both of them are they're looking for anything at this point. They're remembering every single thing they can to have ammo. And it's just like, get over it. You guys were friends for a long time. At the time, it didn't matter to you. It should matter now. Because you really weren't friends if you couldn't bring it up during that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion. Yeah. But before we get any deeper into this conversation, I wanted to quickly let our listeners and viewers know, which I'm sure you already know, but in case you don't, the creator of AfterBuzz TV, Maria Menounos, has her reality show coming out tomorrow night called Chasing Maria, which we're all super excited about on Oxygen. So, we just wanted to let you know a little bit more about the show.
Tuesdays on Oxygen.
I'm Maria Menounos, and my life can get a little crazy. I host Extra. I'm an actor, producer, dancer, wrestler, and a lot of other things. I live with Kevin, my boyfriend of 15 years. Do you really love me?
I would say that I'm in serious like.
And my parents. Yep, I just said I live with my parents.
You drive me crazy.
You drive me crazy. My parents want us to get married.
You both love each other. Get married.
Kevin and I don't. I am going to get married when I want to get married. I think I want kids. Kevin definitely doesn't want them now.
This is being pushed on to us.
And of course, my parents wanted them yesterday.
This year, you gotta have it.
And I have a house full of people counting on me financially. If I take my eye off the ball, everything can fall apart.
It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or wants us to do. It's what we want to do.
Everyone thinks that they know what's best for me, but I'm really the only one. I have got to figure things out.
Chasing Maria Menounos is so new. Every Tuesday at 10, 9 Central, starting March 18th, only on Oxygen.
That sounds really
Yeah, it's gonna be so great.
I love it. It's so fun. That's gonna be our new favorite show.
Well, and it's fun because Maria is on with Andy Cohen tonight.
I know.
She'll be on with Nick Lachey.
Yeah,
so
that's
I love
so
that.
cool. I know Nick Lachey, actually, he lives nearby. He and Vanessa, they live nearby, so maybe we'll all go hang out with him after. Oh no, wait, he's in New York. Never mind.
How do you know this?
I know.
Did you pay $9.99?
I
Yeah.
did. I've seen him a lot of like little places. I don't know. I still have a crush on him. I still think he's like so
From
gorgeous.
Newlyweds, which I was
Oh
thinking
my
on Newlyweds
God.
they lived in Calabasas, but
Yes,
we're off topic.
Totally.
We're off topic.
No, that's
so.
totally a good point though. That's Jessica Simpson living in Calabasas. Come on, guys. Calabasas is a very nice place to live. So
Yes.
let's
So
stop
Brandi
knocking
can
Calabasas. Brandy's so stupid in that way. I don't know why she would say that. Okay, so continuing. Yes, and Nick Lachey is really hot. I did say that. I think he's adorable. Okay, so Lisa. So Lisa and Brandi have it out. Later on, Lisa and Brandi also discuss something. I'll bring it up now since we are on the topic. She says you're different than Brandi says to Lisa. You're very different on camera than you are off camera. Mm-hmm. I know none of us have really seen Lisa off camera, but how true can that be? And who has? No one jumped up and said that they could validate this. And they all know Lisa on camera and off camera. So I'm wondering if they didn't say anything because they just want to stay off Lisa's bad side or what.
What do you think?
I think they also just might not know, because you have different relationships with different people and it brings out a different side of you. So maybe they're not around when it is just Brandi and Lisa off camera hanging out. And if, she's being very motherly and like, oh, don't drink, like while the cameras are on, and the way that she says it could come off very different than when they're together drinking in the Polo Lounge, having like shots. It's like, you just never know because reality is not reality.
Right.
And also anything that Brandi says, I feel like people like Kyle or some of the other housewives, they're not going to go to bat for Brandi because they know that she pulls stuff out of thin air or she's from 0 to 100 like that. So it's, when there's someone that is so to the extremes, you don't always go out to bat for them, but you know who does? It's Carlton. She always is the one kind of jumping in, which I'm wondering if it's because it's the only person that she actually isn't completely annoyed by, because she only seemed to speak when she was talking about anything related to Brandi. Carlton was very quiet.
Yes.
On this whole episode.
I know.
Maybe like, 4 sentences?
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised because they taped this after she came on our show, after Carlton came on our show, and Carlton was very verbal to us about how she felt about everybody. So I just think that she's holding out. I think she knows that, her time's going to come. They're going to show her, her little montage, and then she's going to have her time to speak. I think she's just letting everybody else have the stage right now. I don't think anything really upsets her except Kyle. I think Kyle's the only thing the only person that can really get under her skin.
I think Joyce gets under her skin.
She does, but she mentioned even to us before this was taped that she's dumb, but like she doesn't have she's not a bad person. She thinks Kyle's actually like a bad person. She actually thinks Kyle is like a poison. I mean, she does not say one nice thing about Kyle ever. But on the other hand, with Joyce, she just gets annoyed with her. But I think this is what's going to really, this is going to be why, maybe this is why we have 3 parts. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, also, aside from Kim, when they had her montage and then he was asking her questions, she didn't really talk all that much either.
Yeah, it's true.
Kind of stayed quiet.
Yeah, she did. She mentioned, so she said she's dating a little bit. She loves her dog. I mean, the same, it's very predictable. But
Kim is just at this point kookier and kookier, as Kyle said. So I don't know how much longer she can squeeze out any sort of storyline with this franchise.
Right. Well, Kim does. The only thing Kim mentions that's even remotely interesting is she says she's pissed at Lisa because she saw that Lisa was saying things about when she was getting praying next to a trash can.
Yeah.
She says now that she's sober, she believes, very much in God, and that she has to turn to God whenever she feels necessary, no matter where she is, anytime. She's going to just bow down and pray. And I mean, I don't know. The fact she was in front of a trash can, Brandy's like, she didn't even know whether she was or she wasn't. It's still a little bit odd. I mean, I have a strong faith, but I'm not just going to bow down and just get on my knees and start praying. And there's nothing against that. It's just, you're on a TV show, and I don't know. It was a little odd.
I cannot stand, though, how anything that comes up related to Kim's behavior always seems to go back to the point that she's sober and in recovery. It can be, you flaked out, you didn't come to a party, and then suddenly it goes to Kim saying, well, I missed part of my children's lives, and I missed a lot of things, so who cares that I missed your party?
Right.
Like, you can't really say anything to her without her bringing it to a whole other place. And the second that someone talks about, addiction or possibly losing their lives, you can't help but just shut up.
Right.
You can't argue with that. You have to just let them say what they need to say. So she's putting herself in a situation where it's just a constant, I don't want to say excuse, but a constant validation in her mind. And there's nothing else to say at that point.
Well, how long is it a valid, not excuse, but in lack of a better word, like it's been, she said, a year that she's been sober. So how long can you use that as your reason for missing things and your behavior?
Right.
Well, can you imagine if I said, like, you flaked out on my party, and then you're like, well, my dad flaked out on my life. Like,
Yeah.
it goes from, like, this to, like, my children miss me out. Me too. Like, suddenly I'm like, okay, you're taking it to new places.
I totally agree with you. I have someone close to me, I'll say someone in my family that has been sober, like had issues her whole life, and she constantly goes back. She reverts to her childhood, to anything that may have bothered her at a time, and they're really not like huge things. They're little things like, well, someone didn't show up to my play in 1995, and these little things, and it's like, and I just think that when you become sober, I don't know, I've never had an issue like this, but from what I have to be around and see whenever I go home, a lot of the times that person, still is stuck on that. And I just think that it's difficult for them to live a normal life and totally like put that to the side and never look at it again. I think so. I don't know for sure, but I'm just trying to be devil's advocate right now and give both sides. I totally agree with you, though, and it's annoying as shit. Trust me.
And also, I think she's still in the midst of it, in the fact that, say she missed the last 2 years of her daughter's high school because she was drunk and she was going through a hard time. So yeah, she missed out on that, and guess what? And now her daughter went to college. So over and over, I don't think the tears are the fact that her daughter lives an hour away, but that she missed out on those the last 2 years.
It's guilt. It's guilt.
Yeah, but she wasn't with it.
At the end of the day, it really takes a very strong person to get sober and then look back and know that all the decisions that you made were the reason that your life is where it is right now. And that's really hard. That's why a lot of times people look back and they're like, well, this happened, that happened. It's a traumatic experience. And I think you can never really live a life where that doesn't exist anymore. But it really takes a strong person to move on and try not to bring it up as much as possible. The person in my life's over it now, so it's nice to see, but it took a long time.
Well, and how embarrassing to look back in those previous seasons where she was drinking, so what she doesn't remember, and now she can watch and be humiliated by her behavior.
Sad.
That's tough.
You know, the cameras don't follow you in the bathroom. And I'm not saying she needs to like go sit in a stall to pray, but she very knowingly went off in the corner while the cameras were there. I mean, I imagine when you're filming, there are places you can
when
go
she was
to take 5 minutes. No, to get to pray.
Yeah, but does any of her behavior
Okay.
surprise you? Nothing that she does surprises me. She's weird. Like things she says when she's doing her talks to camera, like everything is a little bit bizarre. Like none of it.
It's definitely bizarre. It's the perfect word. It's bizarre and it's really confusing, and I don't know like whether to laugh or feel bad sometimes. Because I'm like, I don't know if we're laughing at something that's like kind of sad. You know, I don't know. I just think that her family, she has a family that at the end of the day, if she was really, really doing poorly right now, I don't think they'd still let her do the show. I can't. I just think she's just trying really hard to be positive. And it's like, I would never allow my family member that's just got sober to go back in front of the camera and have all these people tear her apart and all these people have all these opinions about her.
I mean, she has to pay for rehab. She has to pay
all
these bills.
Before that, she survived. I mean,
well, because Kyle and Mauricio were paying for her life. I mean, at some point, like Kyle and Mauricio are going to have to like cut the cord. I mean, they have a family. They're going to have kids going to college, and the money is not going to be unlimited when you're a realtor. I mean, there's times when Mauricio's business might be slow or something like that. So, you know, Kim needs to feel good about herself and support herself and
but I
work.
think that she's in a better place.
Yeah, but I'm wondering what's going to happen if she's not booked on another season. I mean, I can't imagine what else we're going to get out of her.
I mean,
I
don't know. I feel like at this point it's going to be Kyle and Kim or no Kyle. And I think we already discussed that, but I can't see Kyle saying, yeah, I'll still do the show without my sister because she's really, really loyal to her.
Yeah, she won't do the show without her.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't think she would.
Would you guys be disappointed if Kyle didn't come back? Do you feel like she's
I think Kyle's really funny. I would miss her comments.
I like her. I do. Overall, I like her character, but yes, I could live without her because there's been housewives in the past from other franchises that I'm like, I'll never watch it again. I'll never be able to live without these people, and I'm totally fine.
Well, look at Jill Zarin with Real
That's
Housewives of New York.
what was in my mind. I didn't want to say that, though.
Was such a big part of all of those episodes, and she had a lot going on. She always brought the drama. People liked her or loved her, that hated her, whatever it was, and you know what? Life went on. Like they hired the new hot girl.
Yeah.
Everyone loves the new blonde girl.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kristen Takeman.
That's her words, not mine. But I mean, people are going to probably comment, why are we talking about other franchises? But the whole point is that you can kind of see where things go based on other casting decisions with other parts of the franchise.
Well, that's what the reunion's about. It's about getting your head spinning, thinking about what's next, what are we about to see. I mean, the season's over. So this is a recap. This is also to get us really thinking about where they're headed at this point and not just where they are now. But so to continue on that, so we have, so Kim mentions that. Lisa, dismisses it a little bit. I think she kind of she doesn't really want to talk about it. And I think Brandi comes in to try to save Kim, but it's just like, at that point, it's not going anywhere, and it's not going to go anywhere. But then we get into Joyce and Brandi. And, I mean, it wasn't that surprising to see the two of them go at it again, but they have apologized so many times at this point and have tried to turn a new leaf, and it's just turned into the same BS. What did you think of their whole conversation? I mean, they covered a lot of things, but overall,
it feels very high school. Like, I can out-talk you any day. Like, just back and forth. It just feels so juvenile to me.
But Brandi's really good at faking calmness because Brandi's just sitting there, just saying things, and then Joyce is the one getting more and more and more worked up, and then Brandi's just like...
Do you think it was her plan?
Absolutely.
Because I know that it made her look crazy, and it made Brandi look sane. And I think that she knows that, making somebody... You can't have two people yelling. It's better off if you know that person's going to take the lead and yell. Just look calm, make them look like they're starting something out of nothing.
I mean,
it's a little manipulative.
Joyce was getting into a point where she didn't know what to say. She knew she had to be controversial. I mean, she started talking about how proud she was of her husband's...
Why?
You don't even want to say it.
I'm not saying it.
Wouldn't you be horrified if you were her and you had already watched the season and you saw those things that you said? I think she has to hold on to it. She knows that's not physically, but I think she has to use that to her advantage because it's really the only time she ever stirred controversy this entire season was talking about her husband's wee-wee.
I don't even know if I would call it controversy. I would just say it was something that grossed out all of the housewives, like picturing him. And they were like, this just doesn't sound natural coming out of your mouth. If it was Brandi, cool, I'll take it, but it's unnatural for you. Like, she was just trying.
It did cause a little bit of a controversy in terms of how they all now talk about the husband. He's never put in a positive light after that. She really ruined that for him. But
I just thought it was interesting that Joyce takes it to a place where she flips everything around and accuses Brandi of, well, I've seen you kissing short, bald, fat guys too.
Yes.
And I have to say one thing. I've seen so many paparazzi pictures. I see them in on the show. Brandi Glanville likes a hot model. That girl
She does like hot guys.
She doesn't.
Her
she
ex,
does not care.
God, Eddie.
I really don't think that she's at the point now where she cares about settling for a rich guy who's maybe not to her standards. That girl has not every one of the guys she's brought on this show.
Gorgeous.
And that's what she said. She likes the hottest guy in the room.
Yeah. And she doesn't care if maybe they're, in a different point in their life because guess what? She is now a New York Times bestseller. And it made me sick to my stomach when I had to hear Joyce say, I probably make more money than you did because I'm a working actress.
Oh.
And
What were
when
you in?
It reminds me of the times that Housewives of Orange County when they would talk about I'm a working actress and things. What do you do? What do you act on?
When you
I
have
don't
to
know.
bring it to that point of saying, I probably made more money than you, that is the most desperate, vile, low place you can be. And even if you were, the people that do, they don't talk about it.
But exactly. But do you also think that it's right? I'm going to play devil's advocate again. I just like to stir the pot with us. But do you think that she was doing that because what Brandi said was just, you really shouldn't knock someone based on their physical looks? And she said he's short and he's, this and that. I mean, she's stating something that she believes is factual. But is that kind of something that calls for her to come back with another thing saying, well, I made more money than you? Did she want to top that because it was really...
I don't know.
Do you feel like it was
'cause
called for?
She also was saying, though, like, I'm not going to settle for a guy who's going to claim that, like, hey, I'm not that good looking, but I'll make you famous.
Right.
So she was, like, tying that into it. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
I feel
true.
like as much as Joyce wants to say that she's so classy, she definitely sinks just as low as everyone else.
Yes, that's right.
She thinks that she doesn't, but then when she's in the spur of the argument and she cannot think of a good retort or to say something, I mean, people like, to me, Yolanda and Lisa remain calm and they say something like pretty snappy. Joyce is like the type of person that gets like hot under the collar, doesn't know what to say, so she just says like the first thing that comes to mind, and usually it's really bad.
Yeah, yeah, she does kind of go out of control.
Not to be mean, but I just don't think she's capable of forming an intelligent, witty comment.
Yeah. I mean, I think it hit home. It seemed to really get under her skin when she said to her, well, you married someone for money so they could make you famous. I mean, I think that really, because...
Well, he's a producer.
I mean, he's
was an
worth
actress.
50 million plus. I mean, I think he's worth even more than that. He's worth so much money. She knew, and it's not stupid. I mean, she's smart to do it. I mean, if you're going to marry someone successful. If you're going to marry someone, why would you marry someone with no job? I understand that. But how much is too much? I mean, at that point, was she looking for someone worth that money? Was she just lucky enough to find a guy she fell in love with? And she's like, oh my God, you're rich. That's great.
You know, they say when when people have, say, like little man syndrome, it's like the guys
the Napoleon complex.
Yeah, exactly. That have to make the biggest comments and maybe aren't the most intelligent. So here she is with a guy. Like, you look at her, she's the better looking one in the group, but then she makes those comments about the size of his penis. So suddenly they're like getting to a point where she's making all these comments about him physically to validate the way that he looks. And that is sick. It makes me want to throw up in my mouth.
It's almost like she knows that he is maybe, not up to par in certain areas. So she needs to let you guys know he has a big dick.
And
don't you forget about that. And he's good in bed.
It's like,
and I'm going to implant it in your heads at all times. She's
trained to make him seem better than he is.
Right.
He has a big, beautiful dick. He's this and that. And it just is nasty.
It's disgusting. And she acts like she's
It
a pageant girl who they act so poised and this and that. But that's like a really gross, like even, I don't know who would ever say that. I can't think of anybody that really says that. I mean, I know Teresa would say it sometimes.
One day.
Yeah,
on Real
that's what I
Housewives
was
of New
just
Jersey.
thinking. Like,
She's a mom.
She talks about Carlton and what Carlton does on camera because she has kids.
Yeah.
How is she any better?
Yeah, she's got 2 boys. It's really gross.
Yeah, one day they're going to know that their mom, I mean, it's
just nasty.
Gross.
It's nasty. All of them really have to like keep in mind that they have kids. At the end of the day, all of them are guilty of something. I think mine is Kyle. They're all guilty of doing something creepy.
Kyle,
at least she's smart about it.
That
Yeah, she
girl,
knows.
She's a good role model.
She's a really good role model. Okay, so I want to know what you guys think. If you want to log onto our iTunes and rate us and let us know what you think of everything going on tonight, but specifically, do you think that Joyce took it a little too far, once again, with the pee-pee comments, or do you think that we needed that to kind of remember that she's there? Because otherwise, would we really know that she's there tonight? Same with Carlton. We didn't hear anything from her, but we do have 2 more reunions. So I want to know what you think of those comments that Joyce made tonight, and you're very honest, so continue being honest, please, for all of us. Okay, so then we have... okay, so she says it's beautiful and it's big, Joyce says. Let me go on from that. The last situation that they cover in tonight's reunion is Yolanda and Joyce. Yolanda says, I would hate to be married to you, to Joyce, because Joyce continually interrupts her. Thought that was funny. Yolanda says, whenever Yolanda does say something, I feel like it's gold, though. She takes her time, she thinks about it, and then she says it, and it's like, it hurts.
Well, Brandi said, like, you're yappy, yappy, yappy. You know, she's like,
yeah.
And then Yolanda said pretty much the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes you think twice about it. I mean, I don't know. I feel like at this point, Yolanda will definitely be there next season. I think they were wondering, it was like, it's something that they were having
Whether she wanted to be on the show or if the show wanted her on it.
If the show wanted her on it. I was reading things, who knows what's real, who knows what's not, that they were considering maybe not having her, but I like her. She's the voice of reason.
Her too, and I'm impressed that with a fifth of a brain, she's as smart as she is.
Seriously.
And smarter than the rest of the
How
cast.
shocking.
4/5 of the brain. A fifth isn't working, so she has a fourth.
Oh, I thought I was like, wow,
Oh,
just
yeah.
1/5.
Well, yeah, because actually before she spoke to her and Joyce had that little thing, she and Lisa had it out a little bit, and she said to her, you didn't come visit me when I was really sick and this and that, and Lisa said Lisa was very sincere in that apology, I think. She looked right into her eyes and said, I'm really sorry, I'm very busy, and that's no excuse, but blah, blah, blah. I like the excuse, the apology. The excuse.
Apology's nice, but I'm sorry, for a year and a half, if you were that sick and you can't leave your house, and you just can't even come over once or twice.
Yeah.
She got
over
length of
there,
time.
I thought. They said they got dinner together, and then they...
I think she was like 1 or 2 times. I don't know. I feel like if you're a really good friend,
Malibu's really far, and the PCH traffic sucks. So
Yeah, I know.
pick a non-traffic time.
Right.
There is no non-traffic time in the PCH.
Yeah, there isn't.
I have to
But
say,
I understand, though,
But
where
if your
she's coming
friend's
from. That's your
potentially
friend.
it's
dying.
awful, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, when people live in places like Calabasas and, Malibu, and they're really far away, and then they, like, constantly get surprised when you don't want to drive to visit them. I mean, this is, like, LA. I'm, like, commiserating with them right now. It hits close to home. I know what it's like.
Yep.
When you look
but
at
let me ask you, if you had a very close friend of you that was potentially dying and was
I'm
"Come visit
taking this
me."
to a different place where I'm just saying there are those friends such as Brandi where they're like, oh, come visit, and it's like they live like an hour and a half away, but obviously, but at the same time, Lisa I don't think is one of her best friends in the whole world.
So either. Clearly,
if she went a couple times, okay, like I'm sure she sent flowers, but at the same time, like,
yeah, there's only so much you can do. You have, I know for me, if I don't answer one person's text during the day, for some reason, when you open a text up and then you just forget to respond and then you never respond again and you forget, people get really insulted by things like that. And so if you're really not present at all times for friendships, it's really difficult because those people take it very serious because they don't know your situation at that very moment. So like something as little, obviously I'm just mentioning a text, it's not as big as what we're talking about, but I understand there are moments where time just goes by very fast and you forget. And you don't mean to forget, but you do. You get very busy. She has a lot going on. At the end of the day, if it was something important to her, she would have been there. And I just think that it was something that she didn't find super important. Maybe she didn't know how bad it really was.
I mean, I guess I just think, like, if someone doesn't want to be there, then I wouldn't want them there.
Right.
Like, if I really felt like Lisa didn't want to come see, I don't want to beg someone to drive and then sit there for 10 minutes and say, well, I've got to be going. I have to go to a viewing. I'm so sorry. I just think she has her daughter. She's Gigi. She's a couple daughters. She has her husband. Like, the people that want to be there were there, and just be happy with that.
Exactly. Just be thankful. Yeah.
So
she lives in like a $28 million home in Malibu, right on the ocean. She shouldn't have to complain about anything.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I just find it crazy.
If there's a giant shakeup, I really wouldn't. You know? Like, just Yolanda's gone. Like, some of these people just, like, out with the excess. I mean, she had Lyme disease, and then her daughter went to college, and then she said the word dream team, and it was controversial.
Yeah,
that is
I know.
the three things I took from this whole season.
It's true, Cassidy. It's true, actually.
I
when you put
Yolanda,
it like that,
but I'm a little bored.
No, I understand. I mean, it's not like the other seasons. Definitely not. And I think the ratings say, they show it. Yeah. So Yolanda, Yolanda and Joyce, they have it out a little bit. Joyce says, so Andy says, okay, well, you mentioned on your blog, Joyce, that Yolanda doing the place cards, speaking of the dream team, putting hearts next to some of the people's names at your party and not everybody else's, was, as Joyce says, tasteless and classless to divide teams at Yolanda's dinner. And no matter how nice you are as a hostess and how many beautiful things you serve and this and that, it's not nice to do that to somebody, to the people at your house. It seems really unlike Yolanda. When I watch her now, I feel like I know her in terms of how she is to people and how much she embraces people that come into her house. It's so important for her to make people feel welcome. I just don't know if that had a little bit of producer influence.
I think it was an accident. I think it was one of those unconscious things that you do, like when you write someone's name down and then you put a little heart.
I don't think it was.
Well, I don't know, because she had said, she was like, I didn't even realize I did that, but
that's
She
weird.
was missing a fifth of her brain function.
That's true. I just feel like it's a little, especially her, she puts so much time and effort into every little thing. Everything is there's so much attention to detail that the hearts, like, she would have looked at the writing. If she wrote something with ugly handwriting, she would have ripped it up and made a new one. I just feel like she would
That was the
have.
weird thing, though. It was like atrocious handwriting. It was so sloppy.
Was
Did
it?
you notice? It was really bad. But
I have really bad handwriting, so I actually should not judge in this
I
conversation.
think that she knows that she did it, and I also think that once again she harps on the little details because what was the thing?
Joyce, you mean? Joyce harps on the little
No, Yolanda.
Okay.
Because I remember direct quotes between Lisa and Brandi where Lisa said, I don't really want to drive at 5 o'clock rush hour to Malibu to make some paintings for Gigi.
Right.
I mean, I'm with you right there, Lisa Vanderpump. I wouldn't want to drive either. And then, you know, Yolanda takes it to a place where she says, like, when I looked at the wall and I didn't see one from you, like, I wanted to cry. Like,
It's very dramatic.
It's just for people like us that have like real jobs and have real responsibilities. It's difficult to relate to somebody that has all day to just kind of hang out and do whatever she wants and paint. And I've been there where I've had friends that don't have jobs and they're very lucky that they don't have to really do anything, and they'll get insulted if you don't go sit with them all day at the beach. And it's like, it's Tuesday. I have commitments. So I get it. But at the same time, if you want people to be able to relate to you, I wouldn't say something like what you just mentioned.
And
With,
once
I looked up at the wall. It's like, okay. A lot of us are looking at our bills and wondering how we're going to pay them. So I don't
didn't
know.
want to contribute, why would you want to force them to? Like,
Right.
Lisa didn't want to
Right.
make a
Once
painting.
again,
Why would you
The
want to
only
force
thing that I
her?
felt bad for Yolanda was that Lisa canceled 2 minutes before it started. I think that was just rude on her part, but I'm with you.
thought it
I would
was a
not go at 5.
misunderstanding. I
Well,
thought
Carlton
that
did
she
too.
I thought she said
Carlton
she
came.
never officially confirmed.
Right, but didn't Carlton at some party not show up? And she said last minute. It was at Yolanda's house, I thought, because Yolanda's husband
Something.
said it was at
Oh, she
Mohammed's.
was sick.
Mohammed's
was
house.
sick. I thought Carlton was sick.
Or was it Joyce? Now I'm forgetting. Somebody else did this too, where they last minute didn't go to the party, but they got away with it and no one got mad at them. So I don't know. I feel like
Rules change depending on the person.
No,
Unfortunately
but
for
I
them.
remember that on the phone call, it seemed as if Lisa said, "Oh, I mean, I never said I was most definitely going. I'd heard
Oh,
about
did she
it."
say that?
Yeah, and I told Brandi I wasn't sure. So
well, Lisa did the same thing with Kim's party, Kim's daughter's graduation party. She got really upset about that, and that whole thing happened. So, all right, that's really the end of it. I feel anything else that we didn't cover? I feel like we really covered every single thing with
that's
this.
it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Yolanda ends it by saying, you know, she understands if she was very humble. She said, if I was, you know, grouchy or angry or anything, I'm sorry if I was difficult to be around during that time. And I thought that was really sweet. She mentioned, I understand if you guys didn't want to be around me, but I don't know. That made me feel bad.
I did feel bad, and Brandi was shaking her head. Like,
Yeah,
no,
she
you
was.
weren't.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we're going to have to see what happens the next 2 reunions. But let's get in some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, I'm going to take a cue from Real Housewives of New York. I think it's going to be a total shakeup. They're going to have like 2 of the original cast members, and that's going to be shocking to the Real Housewives community, but ultimately it's going to make it fresh again and maybe get the ratings back up because this was abysmal.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I actually kind of am rooting for that.
Well, I know that there's a petition out. As of Radar Online says, there's a petition. A woman in New York City named Lori Chase created this petition on change.org to get Brandi Glanville fired from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And 1,000 people as of yesterday have already signed. So I agree with your prediction. I think Brandi will be one of many people cut off because I don't think that Andy would allow someone to come back on a show that this many people don't want her on the show. Or he'll say, oh yeah, I'm going to put you on the show now because all these people hate you. So they're definitely going to tune into you. I don't know.
Watching.
Oh yeah. You it's proven.
Because they, you know, he's
proven.
going to root for the love to hate her mentality,
Yeah.
but I get why fans do that when they get people off. It's not that I point out who I want to get off, but can you imagine having a job and that's your livelihood and you have people trying to get you fired and
I
you're
think
like,
she loves it.
"Oh,
I think she loves every
yeah."
second of it. She loves being controversial. She loves it.
She lives
But
for it.
where can we find you guys?
You can find me at Jill Anenberg.
You can find me at CassidyGard.com and on Twitter and Facebook.
You can find me at Miss Ashley Daniels for both Twitter and Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.